The question I see the most about Division is if this game has what it takes to last a while, and I honestly think it does. This coming from a guy who struggles to last at all, I feel qualified to speak on this subject, so let's just dive straight in. How you doing, new guys? My name is Poe, and welcome to the channel. If you enjoy terrible humor and even worse gameplay, click that subscribe button, stay a while. Lots of Division content in the pipeline, so now that the self-plug is out of the way, this is one of the most serious questions that the community is involved in. Does this game have what it takes to last and sustain itself over long periods of time? What's the end game? This is like the question that everybody asks. A lot of people have come from other various games like Diablo or Destiny or something like that, and these people constantly have these reservations about this game because from what we've had so far, we don't have a whole lot to go on. They have been very, very selective in the information that they release. Now, we have heard like confirmations from people within their community, little slips of the tongue and other things, that there are supposed to be multi-group events happening with this game, meaning, well, your traditional group is of 4 players, so multi meaning more than one. It should be at minimum 8-man situations involved in certain PvE and potentially PvP circumstances, and there's been a lot of information supporting the theory that there's going to be raids, multiple group activity raids. Can you imagine having a minimum of 8-man people in a raid in a game like this? This hasn't been done in looter shooters. This just does not happen. Imagine if you could play games like Destiny, but get involved in raids to the scale of having 8, maybe even 16 or more people involved. You know the kind of bad guys you're going to have to take down when that kind of player count is a necessity? That is a unique experience that really is not seen on something like console. And that, for one, arouses me. I think that's a great thing to approach. And though they've had a lock on this game, not a lot of information is out there flowing on the interwebs. There has been this theory for a long time that raids and RPG elements are going to be a thing. They have often confirmed that this game is an RPG first and a shooter later. That's what they want to approach with this game. So it's going to have those RPG elements that you would expect out of those games. So though things like raids may not seem like too kind of a crazy idea, it has not been confirmed yet. I want you to know that it is still in the theory phase. It's pure ovulation. Nobody knows for certain that this is exactly what's going to happen. So yeah, we're still doing a lot of guessing and, you know, expecting things. We've heard slip of the tongues about high-level raid things. We've seen a lot of other information out there. So I'm really curious to see exactly what this can evolve into. So if any of that stuff that we have expected and had hints towards becomes a reality, that is part of your in-game experience. Now, there are 2 things that I think fully defend my theory as towards why this game can be successful, and it's going to rely on one of 2 things. One, the loot system. If it has a proper loot system, at worst, it can be a grind game. And there is a demand for those games. There's a lot of people playing games like Diablo, which is extremely repetitive. It's about doing fast runs and grinding the same stuff over and over and over again. It may not have crazy depth and lots of replayability for the missions itself, but the loot itself pushes you to become better, and there's not even PvP or anything in those. So if this game is launched flawlessly, there's not a lot of bugs, not a lot of issues, not a lot of balance problems, which it's going to be a hard thing for them to accomplish. If this does happen, and we have a game that has a loot system, which is looking to be lined up just like that, where you can get duplicates of the same items, but you're looking for different stat rolls, if that variety and those different stat variables are there, and you can get hundreds of the same item until you find the perfect one you're looking for, then the game will have replayability in that fashion. Not to mention, you still have, you know, the extra pressure on you inside of the Dark Zone for that situation where you have to extract it. So imagine, and this is where things got exciting. When I was playing the beta the last couple days, I had all the loot I needed. I didn't need anything because I grinded so much in the first couple days. But that last day, I wanted to get a gameplay together and see what a double shotgun meta would look like. 2 double barrels at a time. And I had to grind to find a blue double barrel. And when I finally found it, the pressure was back on me. Then I was like, okay, guys, we gotta form up. I don't want to lose this thing. We're going to have to get somewhere and extract it, make sure nobody trolls us, make sure there's no issues at all. So when you have that stress and that pressure of extracting something you're really looking for, you don't know what the rolls are going to be, what you're going to be dealing with, but when you find that item that you want to definitely get out of there, that puts that extra strain on you. And it just, I don't know, man. It hypes you up. It makes you a little nervous. You're vulnerable. You really want to get out of there with it. So that amount of pressure, the survivability factor, is going to extend the life and duration of this game alone right there. That is probably the second most important thing for you to understand. Games like DayZ and H1Z1, those survival games, have stood alone and, you know, just rare loot circumstances, when you have something to lose and you need to invest time into gaining it and you're vulnerable, that adds replayability. Those games have stood on their own with those factors alone, and this game has the same experience when it comes down to having to extract the loot if you want to keep it. So you have all of that kind of combined into one experience, and that's just the Dark Zone. So if they deliver the PvE elements, which we recently got an image of what kind of content is going to be there, and I'll put it on your screen right now. If this kind of activity is there, if there are that many PvE quests, if there's that many quests and side things for you to do, if there are raids, 8+ man raids involved, if all of this is going to be thrown into this game, hell, even if just like one of those, like the loot system knocks it out, or if any of those things become a reality, this game is going to have replayability. It's going to have an extended life, you're going to be able to enjoy the game, and it's going to be badass. So there's going to be options and things for people doing solo play. There's going to be options for group play. There's going to be all of that stuff in the future. So yeah, I encourage you guys to leave a comment down below. Do you think this game's going to last? Do you think it's going to be good? Obviously, it's not your traditional shooter. It's a different type of beast altogether. And I recognize that there's a negative cloud above Ubisoft. I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh no, I don't know. They've had so many mistakes with Watch Dogs and all these other things. People have made mistakes, but this is its own game. They've spent a lot of time on it. I feel like we should give it the benefit of a doubt. I pre-ordered this for the full edition on both platforms because I think the game's got what it takes. I don't know. I could be disappointed, but I'm willing to take a gamble on it. So, let's see what happens, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for future Division content. I'm going to be blasting it out when the game comes out. I'll see you there.